Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a Q&A. A little while back in one of my What I Wore in a Week videos, I asked you guys to leave me some questions in the comments below so that I could go through them with you because it's been a while since I've done one of these videos. So I'm going to kind of jump right into it and start with this first question. All the questions are on my phone in case you're wondering why I'm looking down. And it is, at what age would you say you were when you started buying investment pieces? So these are kind of more expensive but good quality clothing items. I would kind of estimate that I was about 23 years old at the time. I was working for an MP. I had a good disposable income. I was still living at home, so I didn't really have too many expenses. And while prior to that I had been buying things from Karen Walker, I hadn't really been thinking about the longevity of the different items that I've been purchasing. So mostly I was buying things that had really bold prints on them, really loud colors, or things that maybe were quite trendy that weren't going to last a long time, like they would date really easily. And it was around the time that I was 23, 24 that my best friend and I went to America, and this was sort of when I started to think about spending a little bit more on my wardrobe and buying things that were going to last a long time. So this is around when I bought my Helmut Lang blazer, which you guys know that I still love and wear to date, and that probably set me back around the $700 to $800 mark. I remember it was really expensive. It's also when I bought my Proenza Schooler PS11 satchel, which while I don't wear it as much at the moment, I do really love the bag still, and I'm so glad that I made the investment, that I splurged on it, because I've definitely gotten my cost per wear out of that bag. It has seen a lot, and yeah, it's just one of my favorite things that I've got in my wardrobe for sure. Next question is, what requirements do you look for when choosing to buy an item? So I'd probably say the biggest thing that I look for when I'm buying something new or looking to add something to my closet is that I need to be able to pair it with 3 different outfits. So I want something that's going to be really complementary to what I already own, that's going to be really versatile, and that I know I'm going to want to continue to reach for again and again. So it's part of the reason why I don't go for anything that is ultra trendy, because at the end of the season, when people decide that they're over it, you're kind of stuck with something that you don't really want to wear anymore, but you spent a whole lot of money on. I also generally try and stick to a color palette. However, you guys have probably noticed that I'm starting to branch out a little bit and kind of add in some pieces to my closet that are a little bit more vibrant or have a little bit more color, which is really exciting. But the general rule is that I want to buy things that are going to be really versatile. I also am a little bit of a fabric snob, so for the most part I'm buying natural fibers. I just feel like that's the best thing for me, and I feel like they wear a lot better than some synthetic materials can. Next question is, do you ever shop in Zara and H&M? So not really. Short answer is not really, but there is a reason. So I hate going into Zara because it is one of the most stressful shops to go into. There's people everywhere, there is clothing strewn everywhere, you can never find what you're looking for, there's hardly ever sizes in the items that you actually want to try on. I just don't find it a very kind of nice shopping experience, which is part of the reason why I generally avoid going in there. I do know that they've started doing shipping within Australia, so you can shop their website. I haven't tried to buy anything from the website yet since they've started offering that, but it's mostly because I don't really need anything, and when I do, there are other brands that I generally tend to go to over Zara. For H&M, it's sort of a similar reason. It's more because the store is so huge. There is so much choice, and I just find it overwhelming. Like, I don't know where to start. There is just so many different items on the rails. I just prefer something that's a little bit more curated or a little bit more edited. It's also why I like to shop online, because I can go through the different product verticals that maybe I'm searching for, and it's just no visual clutter. So I'm also a little bit time poor. You know, I've got a full-time job. In my free time I make videos, I have to edit photos, write blog posts, so I tend to do most of my shopping online for that reason as well. I can get it sent to my office or to my PO box, and then if it doesn't fit, I can return it. I quite like getting out of the office at lunchtime, so if I'm walking down to the post shop, it's usually a great excuse for me to go and stretch my legs and get a little bit of vitamin D for the day. So that's kind of why I don't shop in there too often. But that's not to say that I don't shop in there at all, that I rule out buying things from there. If money were no object, which fashion designers would fill your wardrobe, and how do you think it would affect your style? Now, if I could spend on any brand that I like, I think I'd probably just buy more of the designers that I've got a few pieces from. So for example, Joseph, whose sweater I'm wearing today, I really love their knitwear. I love their suiting. I just think it's really gorgeous and really well made, high quality. So definitely buy more from Joseph. I'd also look at buying more from Stella McCartney. I really love her designs, and I also love her kind of ethos and her ethics. They really resonate with me. I'd also buy a lot more Pranza Schooler. I absolutely adore their clothing. I've had quite a few different pieces from the brand over the years. Philip Lim is another brand that I really like, Rag & Bone. A lot of those sort of more contemporary designers out of the US would probably fill my wardrobe. On the more high end of the scale, Balenciaga for leather jackets for sure. Also, I'd probably buy a lot more from Acne. You guys know how much I love Acne Studios. And then Dior as well, probably for clothing and then accessories. And then Chanel for handbags and accessories, I think. In terms of how it would affect my style, I think my style would just be a little more luxe. It would be a little bit more luxe than what it is now. I'd go for, you know, like a Max Mara cashmere coat, that kind of thing. But I don't think it would change my style too much. I'd probably just be a little bit more extra. Now, this next question I love because I've had so many conversations about this at work, so thank you to the viewer who left me this one. It's, which type of personality are you according to the Myers-Briggs type? Now, if you don't know what the Myers-Briggs test is, it's a personality test, and it essentially tests you on a scale like, you know, do you look at the big picture or are you really into detail? Are you introverted when it comes to tackling problems, or are you extroverted? Like all those sorts of things. It's essentially how you deal with an issue. So it essentially is kind of a scale, and your personality type can change over time. I've done the test multiple times and mine hasn't changed. And I am a little bit embarrassed to share with you guys on the internet what it is, but I have the commander personality type. In terms of someone famous, if you aren't familiar with the test who was a commander, Steve Jobs was one, so not necessarily the person that I kind of want to associate myself with in terms of personality types. I wouldn't consider myself an arrogant person at all. However, I definitely am very stubborn for sure. That is one of my biggest weaknesses. When I've got my mindset on something, I do not budge, even if I'm wrong. I'm not afraid to admit that. I do try to kind of, you know, I do admit my flaws for sure, but in terms of my strengths, I'm very efficient and I'm also really driven. And when I've decided to set a goal, I always finish it. I never leave something half done. So yeah, that's my personality type. I'd love to know what yours is actually. Please let me know in the comments below if you've ever done the Myers-Briggs test, because I just find it so fascinating. Next question is, with each of your purchases being really carefully considered and snapped up, usually on sale, what on earth does your husband buy you when it comes time to give you a present? So when it comes to presents between Luke and I, we don't really make a big deal out of it. So for birthdays, anniversaries, or for Christmas, we don't really usually go all out. So usually we will go out for a nice dinner or a nice meal for just the two of us, which I really love. We both have a huge love of food and really good food. And then when it comes to presents, there's usually conversation about what either of us might like, but a lot of years we haven't done birthday presents or we haven't done Christmas presents because we've had other savings goals which have been a lot more important to us than buying each other another thing to have in the house. I'm also the kind of person that you probably will have gotten this from my videos, but I have a lot of stuff already and I don't necessarily need a lot more, and so I tell people that. I say, you know, I don't need a present for my birthday or whatever, you know, I just really want to spend time with my family and friends. That to me is kind of the biggest gift of all. So yeah, we just don't make a big deal out of it, I guess. Next one is, I would love to hear your love story since you're recently married. So I did a whole video on our wedding. If you want to watch it, I will put it up here, and I will drop in the description box below our wedding video as well. You won't see Luke's face in it because, you know, he prefers to maintain his privacy, which I 100% respect. But I don't know if I've ever talked about how we met. Now, we met when we were both working in government, so we're both working for MPs. He was working for a minister, I was working for a backbench MP for the same party, and I had met him. I'd gone up to his office to have a coffee with one of his colleagues and she introduced us. He doesn't remember that though. And then I saw him in the core of the beehive. So you guys won't know what this is, but in New Zealand, the beehive is kind of one of the main buildings. It's really iconic. I'm going to insert a photo here. You will probably know as soon as I put a photo, like it's this bizarre looking building. It does look like a beehive. It is circular, and in the center of the building is where all the lifts are, and that's essentially called the core of the building. So I was walking through there to probably go to the whips office or something like that, and I saw him with one of his work colleagues, and I waved and said hi. He didn't recognize me at all, and he thought I was saying hi to his colleague, and he was attracted to me. He ended up getting my email address and then finding a work reason to reach out to me, and he did ask me out, but I had a boyfriend at the time, so I very politely declined. We stayed in touch and we kind of developed a friendship, and eventually I ended up parting ways with that boyfriend, and shortly after Luke and I got together, and then here we are today. It's sort of, you know, a really good match, and I feel really lucky because Luke is such a wonderful man. Like, he does most of, you guys probably know this, but he does most of the cooking, but he's also really patient. He supports me with everything that I could possibly need help with. You know, he was there for me. And I know when my mum passed away, you know, that was a really, really tough time, and he was just, you know, he was so amazing. I'm gonna get really teary, but he's just an amazing guy, and I feel very lucky. So yeah, if you want to see what our wedding looked like, I will have it in the description below. Okay, next question. God, I'm all gushy at the moment. What do you wish Evelyn would come out with, or what's on your Evelyn wish list? Now, I'm really lucky because the Evelyn marketing team are very generous and will occasionally send me items that I have had my eye on that are some of their upcoming launches. But in terms of things that I'm looking at buying myself, I want to buy the utility jacket in bone. I just think it's really gorgeous. I've got a utility jacket already in kind of a khaki color from Workshop, so I feel like it would just be a little bit too much if I had two very similar jackets. So I want to get the ivory color. Then I would also really like to get a new pair of modern loafers in maybe khaki color. I just think they look very cool. Then also, what else would I like to get? Probably a pair of their cashmere joggers, I think. I just feel like those would be so perfect for traveling. I do have a pair from Grana, but they're a little bit short. They're more of a cropped style, so I wouldn't mind trying Evelyn's ones. And aside from that, I'm just really excited about some of the upcoming launches actually, so hopefully I'll be able to share those with you on my channel and also on my blog. But I will maybe list some other items in the description box below that I have had my eye on as well. Next question is, where would you like to travel to next? Now, you guys will probably know that Luke and I kind of put travel on hold because we've bought a house, so we're not really doing anything major. We are planning to go to New Zealand really soon because Luke's brother's wife is having a baby, or maybe has had a baby by the time this video goes up. So that's really exciting. So we want to go over and meet our niece. In terms of places that we want to go next, personally, I'm dying to go to Marrakesh. I really want to go to Morocco, so that's definitely high up there. And we've been talking about going to Japan for the Rugby World Cup in 2019. Luke really loves rugby, if you guys didn't know that already. I'm pretty sure I've shared that before. And so we talked about going there for 2 weeks because we put off the trip a couple of years ago just because we weren't able to go at the time. So yeah, that might be maybe one of our next holidays. We might also maybe go back to the US. I'd really like to go back to LA, maybe go to Palm Springs, also go to New York and visit some of my family again. I also would love to go back to Greece because it would be nice to get to see some of my family there, maybe go island hopping. And the last place, I'd like to travel around France a bit more because I've only been to Paris, so I'd really like to go to Versailles, see the beautiful gardens there. I would like to go south of France as well. Oh, Amalfi Coast too in Italy. Yeah, there's a lot of places on our travel wish list, but you know, it's all about figuring out what is feasible and what's manageable with the time that we have, with what we want to do with the house. You know, we'd rather invest in our house than spend it traveling at the moment. And we've also got to take time off work, so yeah, kind of got to juggle all of those things, but we'll see. A holiday would be nice. Next one is, what is your interior design style? So I think by the time this goes up, you guys will have probably seen a house tour, I'm hoping. If I haven't posted that yet, then it'll be coming. But our place now is, well, the place that we've been renting looks very different to, I guess, what I would like a place to look like. So I'm really into that kind of California bungalow style, like really airy and white with lots of natural colors. I also sort of like Scandinavian interior decor. I do have a whole Pinterest board that's dedicated to home and decor stuff, so I will link it in the description box. Well, actually, my Pinterest is linked in the description box below, so go and check that out because that'll probably give you guys a pretty good idea as to the type of thing I like. Next one is, what is my favorite food? You know, because I've got all these different issues with foods that I can eat and foods that I can't eat. I'm lactose intolerant, but then I also have kind of fructose malabsorption issues. I'm very limited. One of my favorite things to eat though, and thankfully I can still eat this without any problems, is avocado on toast. It's the most boring thing ever, but if I'm not cooking or Luke's not cooking, that's what I will go for every single time. I also really like spanakopita, which is a Greek spinach pie. And in terms of things like sweet treats and stuff like that, I'm a sucker for chocolate. Just give me a piece of chocolate and I'll be a happy girl. This is going to be a really long video, so I'm sorry. I hope that you're enjoying it. Next one is, if you weren't in your current profession, which job do you think you'd like to do other than YouTube on the side? I think if I was doing something else, I would love to work in conservation. So I did have an opportunity to apply for a role within the Conservation Minister's office in New Zealand, and I think that would have been right up my street. I'm really into environmental issues and that kind of thing, so that's probably where I would like to be, maybe doing policy or something. I mean, I did study political science and international relations, so the other kind of side of that spectrum is maybe working for some sort of humanitarian organisation. I like this next one. What do you find fulfilling about running your blog, your YouTube channel and your Instagram account? Now, I'm the kind of person who has always had a project. I started building websites when I was 13 years old. I had my first blog when I was 13. It wasn't a style blog. It was more like a you know, like a live journal or something, but I actually had a grey matter version on my website. But I've always just enjoyed doing something in my free time. I'm not the type of person who likes to just sit around and relax. I'm an active relaxer, so I like to be doing things. I just find that fulfilling. I love the sense of achievement when maybe I've got an idea that's a little bit more interesting and then I can make it happen. So when I did the review for the Everlane slingbacks, I had this idea, you know, that I wanted to take the photos, and I felt so happy when they turned out exactly as I wanted them to. So yeah, I guess it's that sense of achievement. It's really awesome to be able to build a cool community, and maybe that's what I've always liked about it, because when I was blogging when I was younger, it was the same thing. I had this sense of community with other people who were building the same kinds of websites as me. So yeah, I think that's probably one of the big things for me. Now, I just had a quick look and I've been filming for a really long time, so I think I'm going to end this one here. I want to say a huge thank you to everybody who took the time to leave me a comment and ask a question. If I didn't answer your question, I'm really sorry, but I have done some other Q&As, so hopefully your questions will be answered in those videos. I'm going to drop them in the description box below so you can check them out. For the person who asked me about my style evolution, video is going to go up here. I have done a whole video on that where I talk through how my style has changed over the years. Yeah, thank you guys again so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time with a brand new one. See you soon. Bye.